The battle for my land. How I took down a corrupt HOA. After retiring from the military, I craved a quiet life where I could chase my passions without interference. I found the perfect spot, a sprawling property just beyond the city, surrounded by dense woods and open fields. It was my slice of paradise, ideal for building a personal shooting range, a dream I'd nurtured for years. The land fell under the jurisdiction of a homeowners association, HOA, but the real estate agent assured me it was a dormant organization, with minimal rules about lawn care and property upkeep. Most neighbors valued privacy over petty regulations, or so I thought. Little did I know, this dream would spark a war that would change my life and my community forever. I didn't skimp on the shooting range. I hired experts to design a state-of-the-art facility, complete with safety barriers, soundproof walls, and clear signage, all well within my property lines. Every detail complied with local laws, and I positioned the range to avoid disturbing anyone. When construction began, most neighbors were curious or supportive, some even joking about free shooting lessons. But not everyone was pleased. A few grumbled about noise or bad optics, and one woman, Eleanor, became my nemesis. Known as the neighborhood's self-appointed enforcer, Eleanor served on the HOA board and thrived on control, wielding rules like a weapon. The day I tested the range, Eleanor stormed to my doorstep, waving HOA guidelines and accusing me of endangering the community. Despite my offers to show her the safety measures or host a briefing, she dismissed me, declaring firearms had no place in a family neighborhood. I tried to stay calm, assuming her outrage would fade. I was wrong. Soon, vague HOA letters arrived, citing nuisance creation and excessive noise, even though the range was complete and barely used. When I attended an HOA meeting to explain my precautions and propose a community safety day, Eleanor rallied the board to pass a new rule banning shooting ranges, clearly targeting me. I contested its legality, believing my range, built before the rule, was protected by property rights. I kept using it cautiously, hoping to avoid further conflict. Then came the day that shattered my trust. I'd gone out of town for a weekend, returning to gut-wrenching sight. My range was gone, reduced to rubble by bulldozers. Safety barriers were smashed, berms flattened, and signs torn down. A letter from the HOA, left on my doorstep, claimed they'd removed unauthorized structures to uphold community standards. Without notice or legal authority, they'd trespassed and destroyed thousands of dollars worth of property. Rage burned through me, but beneath it, a cold resolve took root. They'd crossed a line, and I wasn't the type to back down. I hired a lawyer named Tom, a specialist in HOA disputes, who confirmed the HOA's actions were illegal: trespassing, property destruction, and possibly criminal mischief. We sued for damages, expecting a quick resolution. Instead, the HOA hired a ruthless law firm, dragging out the case with endless motions and delays. They slapped me with absurd fines for property damage caused by my own destroyed range, threatening liens if I didn't comply. At HOA meetings, Eleanor and her allies mocked me openly, calling me a troublemaker who didn't belong. It was clear, winning in court wasn't enough. The HOA's deep pockets and local connections made them untouchable through traditional means. I needed a better plan. Researching HOA laws, I discovered a game changer. The HOA was a nonprofit corporation, not a government entity. Homeowners held voting rights, and with enough votes, I could seize control. The idea consumed me. I mapped out the community, identifying allies among neighbors fed up with the HOA's tyranny. People fined for trivial violations like wrong-colored flowers or slightly overdue trash cans. Quietly, I built a coalition, framing my plan as a fight for fairness, not revenge. I also targeted delinquent properties, buying their debts or securing proxy votes through shell companies to hide my moves. Every step was calculated like a military operation. After months of preparation, I had enough signatures to force a special election. We launched a covert campaign, spreading the word through trusted allies and secret meetings. The board fought dirty, challenging signatures and trying to change bylaws mid-process, but Tom countered every move. Smear flyers appeared, accusing me of wanting to turn the neighborhood into a war zone. Anonymous emails slandered my military service. The tension was suffocating, but we pressed on. On election night, the community center buzzed with anticipation. When the votes were tallied, we'd won by a landslide, ousting the entire board. Eleanor's final glare as she stormed out was a trophy I'd never forget. Elected HOA president, I acted swiftly. At an emergency meeting, I fired every staff member and contractor linked to the range's destruction, savoring their shock as termination letters arrived. A forensic audit uncovered years of fraud, missing funds, fake contracts, and embezzlement by Eleanor and her cronies. I handed the evidence to the authorities, and, soon, criminal charges followed. Seeing Eleanor in handcuffs was a moment of pure justice. Next, I rebuilt my range bigger and better with community approval. At an open house, neighbors grilled burgers, took shooting lessons, and left smiling, even former skeptics. I overhauled the HOA bylaws, stripping oppressive rules, and adding a homeowner's bill of rights to protect property freedoms. The neighborhood transformed from a place of fear to one of trust and pride. My story spread, earning headlines like Veteran Topples, HOA Tyrants. Strangers nationwide reached out, inspired to fight their own battles. I spoke at town halls and joined HOA reform discussions, never seeking fame, but embracing the chance to help. As I fired the first shot at my new range's opening, the clang of the target echoed like a victory bell. Surrounded by neighbors who'd become allies, I felt closure. Freedom wasn't handed to me. I'd earned it through every battle won and every wrong righted. What do you think? Have you faced injustice or bullying in your community? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe standing up, even with force, is justified, or should conflicts be resolved differently? Let's hear your stance.